Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be about basic cosplay makeup, but from the twist of being chronically ill. So I have mentioned it multiple times in my last few videos that I'm severely chronically ill, and it's not something that I thought was going to affect my cosplay and con life, but it really does. So basically what I'm going to show you guys is things that work for me. I'm very pale, obviously. I'm actually paler than this, and sometimes I have weird undertones depending on how I'm feeling that day. So all these things that I'm going to show you are very basic cosplay makeup that you could probably take through anything, and they're definitely gender neutral. You could definitely use these in a lot of different cosplays, but I'm going to be showing what works for me as a chronically ill cosplayer. So if you'd like to see what I use at a convention, just keep watching. So the first thing that I highly recommend is a good moisturizer and a good primer. So for moisturizer, actually currently I'm using a Neutrogena one, which I don't mind, but I personally like the Josie Maran Argan oil, and I'm actually out of my bottle, so I can't show you, but it is so nice, and it's so rich and luxurious, and it's just so comfortable. I find that it gives, in addition to a good primer, it gives an extremely good base to your skin. But I do find that the Josie Maran Argan oil, and it's 100% argan oil, I love all of her stuff. I have a couple of her body butters, and I've used so many of her things. It gives a really nice base to your skin, and I actually really like it just on a regular like makeup wearing basis, or if I'm not wearing makeup, it's also a really good option. So that's the moisturizer, and then the primer that I like to use is the Stila One Step Corrector. I absolutely adore this. I bought this at the beginning or mid-beginning of the year, and it's kind of cool. I've shown this in a couple of my videos. I know you can't really see it, but it's green, pink, or salmon, and lavender color, and it's supposed to color correct. This is where I say that this is really good, especially for chronically ill cosplayers. I have very deep, very heavy dark circles under my eyes, and thank goodness for a good concealer. I really think that this helps cancel out any sort of paleness that I get, especially in the morning. I'm sure there's tons of other people like this that are especially pale. When you get up in the morning, you're a ghost, because just you've been sleeping and the blood isn't up in your face as much as it would be if you were up and doing something. I find that this is really helpful, especially at a convention, because it really cancels out any weirdness, and it gives me a much more even skin tone. I would really recommend this particular primer, but if you have a primer that works for you, definitely use it. I find that it doesn't make me oily or dry. It just gives me a really nice base to my skin. So the next thing, especially for a chronically ill cosplayer, is a good concealer. I've only found two that have worked really well for me. The first one was the Bare Minerals little like potted concealer, and I was using that for actually a couple of years, and now I found a new baby. I absolutely love it. It's the Tarte Shape Tape. I think it's an Ulta exclusive, but I'm not sure. I adore this stuff. It's really it's got an incredible coverage. I mean, incredible coverage. I have it in Fair. I have it in Fair, and I really like it. I put it under my eyes, and then sometimes if I want to highlight, I put it on my chin and my forehead, but usually it's just under my eyes. The applicator is massive. I mean, it's so big. I absolutely love it. It's a doe foot applicator, and like seriously, when I say you only need a little bit, you only need a little bit of this stuff. I usually just put like a little quick dab in the like darkness kind of area in the very front of my eyes, and then I just kind of blend it back. It's so creamy, it's so smooth, and the coverage is incredible. You could definitely use this if you have acne scarring or anything like that. Like, I've heard this is good for melasma and pregnancy mask. Obviously I wouldn't know, but it's really good, and I really do recommend it. Again, it's definitely a little bit more pricey. If you want one that isn't so pricey, the Bare Minerals one is nice, but I still say the coverage on this one is a lot better. And you know, I hear one of the CoverGirl, oh no, it was Neutrogena, one of the Neutrogena, it's like a concealer stick. I hear that's really good too. I wouldn't know, I haven't tried it, but I really highly recommend this, and I've had it for several months now, and granted, I don't wear makeup every day. I usually only wear it if I'm going to work or I'm going to be out for a really long time. But this is really perfect. I really do like this. I definitely recommend picking this one up. So the next thing is kind of debated because I guess it depends on your skin tone, but I know for me, especially as a chronically ill cosplayer, foundation is key. And I, again, have gone through the gamut of a lot of foundations. And again, like I've mentioned, I don't have a lot of skin issues, but what I do have, I like to make sure my skin is even and it has a good just kind of overall look to it. The two that I like that I would probably like recommend is the Bare Minerals Loose Powder foundation, and then the one I'm currently using is the It Cosmetics Celebration Illumination Foundation. I really like this. It's really pretty. I'm actually almost out of it. I have a whole nother tub because I got in on one of the times she was doing a dual one. It's very pretty, and when it's illumination, don't think glitter. I mean, there's no glitter in this. It's really pretty. It just gives you an overall just kind of glow to your skin. Like, I know it's kind of hard to see it on camera, but in real life it's really pretty. But I just find that this is really, really helpful, especially for me where I'm so pale. And it is an illumination foundation, but there's no glitter. It's just kind of like a crushed pearl effect. It's very, very pretty. Absolutely stunning. And it comes in a very wide range of colors. She works with plastic surgeons to make her products, so it's for people who have not just a little bit of acne, it's ones that have cystic acne and scarring. And I know there was one lady that called in when I was listening to QVC. She was very much abused, and it really helps cover some of her scars from her previous abuser. And it's just, it's a really nice foundation, and I actually have like a little like vein right here, and it covers it up really well, and you really don't need much, so it's also very cost effective as well. So the next thing that I would recommend is definitely something to do for your eyebrows. Now, this isn't really a chronic illness thing, this is just a cosplay thing in general. You gotta think, you're most likely gonna have at least one picture taken, even if you are taking a selfie. And basically what you want to do is you want to make sure that your eyebrows stand out, because I've been a photographer, and that was actually part of my job for a little while, and what you really want to do, and you're going to hear a lot of makeup people on YouTube and all the different social medias talk about this, is if you are having pictures done, your face is going to be washed out, so that's why they always recommend contouring and your eyebrows. Your eyebrows are really key in a cosplay in general. If you don't wear a lot of makeup other than that, I really recommend you doing something with your eyebrows. I know for myself, it really helps me just look a little bit better, because my eyebrows are actually fairly thick until the tail, and then they kind of start to sparse out a little bit. This is for if you have a lot of eyebrows or you have no eyebrows, especially if you don't have any eyebrows. Changing your eyebrow color, especially for a different wig, really, really helps. I know I have run the gambit this year. I'm trying to think. I've done black hair for my Maran Hawk, I've done red hair for my Maharial, and then I had my natural eyebrow color for my Inquisitor. It really, really helps. Oh, and then red for Ariel as well. It just kind of brings everything together when your eyebrows are at least somewhat symmetrical, and then they're matching to the wig, or at least somewhat. So what I actually really like to use for anything that's not my natural hair color is I like to go and get a NYX lip pencil. And why I do that is it's going to have a lot of pigment, and it's going... Hi, kitty. It's going to have a lot of pigment, and then it's going to actually, with the wax inside of it, it's going to kind of keep the eyebrow hairs down. It does look harsh, but I kind of feel like most of these characters, like Ariel, and when I'm just trying to think of all the different ones that I've done, and like my Maharial, you know, they're gonna have really, like, more like perfect looking brows, so I really recommend doing it that way. But if you had a way that worked for you, definitely do that. These are just like kind of what works for me. So like I said, doing something with your eyebrows, making sure they do stand out, is going to be really key in your overall cosplay experience and your overall cosplay pictures. So next is definitely something that I would recommend to anybody, unisex. It does not matter what your gender identity is. It's definitely getting somewhat of a neutral palette. And why are you up on my... Nina? Get yourself a small, basic, neutral eyeshadow palette. And I would recommend, actually, two of these. The one that I would recommend, you've heard me talk about them in the last couple of videos. One of them is the Basics Urban Decay palette, and I have been using this one for so long. I love this palette. I would repurchase it if I ran out of it. It's absolutely perfect. It's got your black, it's got a darker brown, it's got kind of a, like, mid-tone brown. It's got a skin color depending on what your skin color is. It's got a yellow, and then it's got a really pretty iridescent light white kind of color. Really perfect palette. I have been using this one for a really long time. It's gotten me through every convention that I've been to in the last year or two. And then the other one that I would recommend is actually one that I picked up last week or so. It's the Too Faced Natural Mattes palette. I adore this palette. It's definitely got some more warmer tones, but I really do like it. So you've got, if you're familiar with the Too Faced palettes, you've got 3 rows, and basically it's for ones that are like, you know, if you're not really sure how to do a look, they all just kind of go together. But I really personally like this palette. I think there's some more warmer tones in it that are not in the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette that you might not go to, but I would definitely go to either one of these. I think this is a really cute palette, and I actually really like the names. It's like Cashmere Bunny and Risque and Strapless. It's a really cute palette, and I really enjoy it. This is what I've been using on my daily makeup kind of looks, and it's been working really well. They're all matte, and that's something else that I recommend for both for chronically ill and non-chronically ill, is using matte shadows. And then if you're going to be highlighting like your inner corner, your brow bone, your cheekbone, or wherever, those should probably be iridescent, but I personally don't use iridescent shadows for cosplay looks. And the reason why is just, I've had a couple of pictures taken where when I was first starting to wear makeup for cosplay, it was, I was using a lot of iridescent shadows because I thought they would look pretty. And they did in person, but then I took pictures and I had like glowing orbs over my eyes, and just, it wasn't a cute look. So I would definitely recommend using matte shadows. I think you're going to get a much more professional and prim and proper look, but it depends on your skin tone, your skin whatever. I mean, it's really whatever you find works for you, but I just tend to recommend more matte shadows for eyeshadows, and those are the 2 palettes that I would really recommend. So the next one is definitely key for a chronically ill cosplayer, and it's a really good neutral blush. Now neutral is going to be hard because obviously my neutral is going to be different from somebody who's a much darker skin tone, but finding a neutral blush for yourself is so key with cosplay, especially for a chronically ill cosplayer. I actually tend to go with a rosier color for being who I am, just because it gives more life to my skin. Like I said, I've obviously said it a million times, I'm pale, so I need more color in my face than like an average person, especially in the morning, and then that's usually what I'm doing when if I'm staying at the hotel or if I'm just driving up. I actually try to layer a little bit more blush on than I normally would. 1, because it is going to fade, but 2, when you're getting pictures taken, I know I've said this, but it's going to drown out certain portions of your face, so that definitely go a little tiny bit more heavy-handed than what you would normally do if you wear makeup on a daily basis. And I always recommend looking up just basic cosplay makeup tutorials, or even just looking at basic makeup tutorials, because they're going to give you better indications of how things work. But I tend to put more blush, more contour, and definitely more mascara on than I generally would. So I just definitely recommend getting a good neutral blush, and what I've actually been using, and I've got a little bit more used to it than I did when I first tried it, and it's going to look really sparkly on camera, I promise. Oh, actually, I guess it doesn't. This is the e.l.f. Bronzer and Blush Duo. And this is actually what I've been using for my bronzer and my blush, and it's definitely got gold shimmer in it. I mean, it really does. My blush, I do not mind that. I actually really like the blush of gold shimmer in it. I really do like the iridescence of it because I just think it catches the light really beautifully. Bronzer, I'd recommend a matte bronzer, kind of in the same way that I'd recommend a matte eyeshadow. It's just going to look cleaner and crisper, and it doesn't catch the light weird, even though because these are so cheap, and I really like e.l.f., but because these are so cheap, in the bronzer, the gold shimmer actually gets less and less the more that I get into the pan. I don't know if I'd recommend the bronzer. I'd actually, what I used to do, and I still do it, is I use the matte shadow in the Urban Decay Basics palette. I use the Naked 2. Naked 2, yep. That one. It's a really nice cool tone contour, so I would really recommend that, especially if you're already getting that palette. I mean, seriously, this palette works for a lot of different things. I really recommend it. So definitely, like I said, get a nice, like, pinky toned if you're pale like me, and then the more like darker pinks and berries for the deeper of your skin tone. But definitely kind of play around with it. You don't need a really expensive, you don't need any of this that's really expensive. If you have something that's going to work for you better, by all means use it. But I tend to splurge a little bit more on certain items like my foundation and my concealer. But everything else I tend to just go a little bit cheaper. And, like, I love BH Cosmetics eyeshadows too. I really recommend those ones as well. So, like I said, just find a good mid-tone, neutral, kind of pinky blush. And I tend to go a little bit more heavy-handed on that. So I would really, really recommend a blush because it's going to make you look a little less Elle-like. So the last two things that I would recommend are definitely a mascara, and I think this is, again, a very gender neutral thing. I think that even a male identifying cosplayer or a male identifying character, they do still have a little bit of lift to their lashes, and I actually cosplayed Hinata from Haikyuu, and yeah, I don't really have any pictures of that. And I actually wore just a smidge of mascara, and it really opened up my eyes, and I know a lot of people see mascara as like girly, and it's like, we gotta kick that habit, because that's just so dumb. It's really helpful, and I've known several male identifying cosplayers that have worn mascara, and their eyes look so beautiful. And then especially, it might look a little much in person, but when they get pictures done, it's just enough. It's just enough lift to their eyes, and it really just makes their eyes nice and open. I would definitely recommend a good mascara. What I use is the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes mascara. There's really only two mascaras that I've used that have made my lashes look, boom, really big. So it's that one, and then the Mally mascara, fantastic mascara, and she's adorable. I absolutely love her. But the Tarte mascara, it's wet, but it's not that wet of a mascara, and my lashes just go boom. And now, disclaimer, I have good lashes. I don't have particularly thick lashes, but I have very long lashes. And so it helps the thickness, and it just makes them really big and fanned out, and I love this mascara. I usually put 3 to 4 coats of mascara on. I mean, I go all out. And, like, in pictures especially, it just makes my eyes look so big. And why this is kind of more of a chronically ill thing as well is when you're tired, the thing that you really want to do is make sure your eyes look nice and bright and open. And that mascara is definitely going to do that for you, and the Mally mascara is going to do that too. But a cheaper option I've done is the CoverGirl Clump Crusher. That's a really, really good mascara. I really do like that. I just tend to go for the other two, but that's also a really good option as well. So definitely get yourself a good mascara, whether you're chronically ill or not, but especially if you're chronically ill. Alright guys, so that's all of my recommendations for cosplay makeup. Let me know if there's any that you would recommend. I always like looking for new things. I try to give a little bit of insight into what's going to help if you're chronically ill, but there's so many different ranges of chronic illness. There's mental, there's physical, there's emotional, there's so many different chronic illnesses out there. This is just what I have. I'll just give a really quick gambit. I have vocal cord disorder, endometriosis stage 3, irritable bowel syndrome, and then those kind of go into chronic migraines, chronic nausea, and anxious tendencies. There you go. I'll do a full video on it, but those are all of kind of like my main chronic illnesses, and they've definitely affected, as I've gotten older, how my conventions work. So I've had to definitely change around certain aspects of my makeup and my cosplay to make it more comfortable for me to cosplay, because I'm never going to stop cosplaying, but I need to do things that are going to make it more comfortable for me to be able to do it, because if I'm putting so much time and effort and money and blood, sweat, and tears into these costumes, I want to be able to wear them and enjoy wearing them, but I do have to change around certain aspects, especially with my new diagnosis of my vocal cord disorder. I can't have tight things on my chest or anything like that. So definitely I have to change things and make things easier for my life and in general, but then easier for my cosplay. So I found things that work for my skin and for my paleness, my ghostliness, whatever you want to call it. I never change my skin color. Please don't do that. Please don't highly darken your skin color. It's not good. You'll get in trouble. Please don't. I do give myself a little bit more color to my face and blush or a little bit of bronze on certain high points on my face. So if you are a chronically ill cosplayer, please comment and let me know. I always like hearing from other chronically ill cosplayers, especially if you have anything that I have. Definitely let me know how you kind of get through the whole cosplay experience through that. If you have any makeup recommendations, definitely let me know on that, because I'm always looking for new makeup. So yeah, so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you wish. And I'm also going to be putting the links to my social media down in the description bar below. Follow me on those if you like, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!